Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel Physics for AP. So we were discussing about the chemical bonding. So till now we have discussed about the definition of the chemical bonding. In that what we have discussed the types like the ionic bond, covalent bond and polar covalent bond that we have discussed in our previous episode. And next we have discussed about the octet rule. So what is meant by octet rule and how does cation and anion forms, that all we have seen in our previous episode. And also we have seen about the dot structures, how to draw the dot structures based upon the electronic configuration by visualizing that atomic number. Based upon it we write the electronic configuration, and the outermost orbit, the electrons which are present in the outermost orbit, that is the valency electrons. Based upon it we write the valency, these Lewis dot structures over here. And now today we are going to discuss about the ionic bond and the properties of the ionic bond. So let's see about ionic bond. So ionic bond, as we have discussed it is nothing but the bond formed by the transfer of electrons. So it is the bond formation between the transfer of electrons, or the bond formation between an anion and a cation is said to be called as the ionic bond. So ionic bond was explained by Cosell. So what are some of the proposals? What there is, the first, it is formed between two dissimilar atoms. So it is formed between two dissimilar atoms. So what we can say is, one is said to be called as a metal and another one is said to be called as a non-metal, as we have discussed it before. So to form an ionic bond there should be two dissimilar elements, that is, one should be the metal and another one should be a non-metal. Two metals cannot combine over here, and as well as two non-metals cannot combine here to form an ionic bond. That is, to form an ionic bond the two elements should be present, which is one the metal and another one the non-metal. And coming to that, most highly reactive metals like 1A and most highly reactive non-metals like 7A, so these two combine to form the ionic bonds. So most of the ionic bonds are formed from 1A and 7A. Like example, if we see here, we have a small periodic table. This is the fifth group elements, fifth, sixth and seventh A group elements, and this is the 1A group, 2A group and 3A group elements, and this is the 8A group, which is said to be called as the noble gases. As if you see 1A, 2A, 3A, so these are all the metals. So these are all called as the metals, and 4A, 5A, 5A, 6A, 7A, so these are all called as non-metals. So metals has a property to lose the electrons. So to lose the electrons, so they get the valency of +1. Here we get the valency of +2. Here we get the valency of +3. As well as the non-metals, they gain electrons. So as they gain electrons, here the valency we have as -3. Here we have the valency as -2. And here we have the valency as -1. Now coming to the 8A, which is called as the noble gases. So noble gases, so these noble gases cannot lose electrons as well as they cannot gain electrons, so their valencies are 0. So they don't have any combining capacities. Like if you see here, so the group 1A, 2A, 3A, these are the metals, and 4A, 5A, 7A, these are the non-metals. So any element from the metals can be combined with the non-metals to form an ionic bond. Like for example, if we take Na, so Na can be combined with Cl to form NaCl, as well as Mg, it can be combined with oxygen to form magnesium oxide, ionic bond. Like calcium combined with the fluorine, or we can call it calcium fluoride, or it can be combined with oxygen like calcium oxide. Like so the metals combine with non-metals to form ionic bond. And the middle, which we call the noble gases, these noble gases are also called as inert gases, which doesn't combine with any of them, so they cannot gain electrons, they cannot lose electrons, so they are just what we call the noble. They won't get react with any other, so they are called as the noble gases, except the helium have 8 electrons which are inactive. Like helium has two electrons in its outermost orbit, So as it has 2 electrons, we call it as duplet configuration. And the remaining, like neon, argon, krypton, xenon, radon, the remaining noble gases have 8 electrons in its outermost orbit. Combining with helium, they are all inactive, like helium, neon, argon, krypton, xenon, and radon. So all these elements are the noble gases which are inactive, and they are also stable, so they won't combine with anyone. And also, to attain 8 electrons in outermost shell, like as we have told, we discuss about the octet configuration, that to attain 8 electrons in the outermost orbit, it has to lose electrons to form a cation, as well as gain electrons to form anion. Then the cation and anion combine together to form a compound. So we have some of the compounds, examples like here we have, these are all called as ionic compounds, like sodium chloride, magnesium chloride, calcium oxide, aluminum chloride, sodium oxide. So these are all the examples for the ionic bonds. So these are all called as the ionic compounds. So these are all called as ionic compounds. Now let us see some of the formation, like the formation of NaCl, MgCl2 and CO. How does it form? Like first example, if we take for NaCl, so as we know, we have metal which is called as sodium, and we have another one which is called as the non-metal, which is chlorine over here. Now we know that the electronic configuration for sodium is 11. So when we write it as 1s2, 2s2, 2p6, 3s1. So this is the electronic configuration for sodium. So when we remove one electron from its outermost orbit, as we have 2, here we have 8, and here we have 1, that is 2, 8, 1. Now to get octet configuration, we have to remove one electron. So let us remove one electron. So when we remove an electron, so we get Na, gives rise to Na plus 1 electron has been removed out over here. Now coming to the chlorine, the chlorine atomic number is 17. So when we write the electronic configuration, so 1s2, 2s2, 2p6, 3s2 and 3p5. So the first shell which has 2 electrons, the second shell which has 8 electrons, and the third shell which is having the 7 electrons. Now to get octet configuration, it has to gain 1 electron, then it gets 8, then we can write it as, here we have 2, 8, 1, and when it loses electrons, it gets 2, 8. As well as here we have chlorine which has 2, 8, 7. When we add 1 electron, it gets as Cl minus 1, and we get 2, 8, 8, which has a octet configuration. Now when you combine these two equations, like Na gives rise to Na plus 1 electron, and when you take the chlorine plus 1 electron gives rise to Cl minus. Like mathematics, how we solve the equations, the linear equations, when we solve it, how do we solve? The same thing also you need to solve. So 1 electron gets cancelled over here. Now when you add over here, so we get Na plus Cl gives rise to Na plus an electron minus, which combines to form as NaCl, which is called as the sodium chloride. Okay, clear? Now when we draw the dot structure for NaCl, the formation of dot structure, the NaCl dot structure, if we see here, we have sodium Na, which has 1 electron in its outermost orbit. So which has 1 electron in its outermost orbit, so we draw it as 1 dot. Plus we have chlorine which has 7 electrons in its outermost orbit, so we write it as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7. So we have 7 electrons. Now what happened here is, the 1 electron which is present in the sodium is being transferred out to the chlorine. So understand, so Na cannot lose 1 electrons by itself. That is, when a chlorine atom is combining near to the sodium atom, that is, when we have a sodium over here and when we have chlorine, when these two atoms combine together, the outermost electron which is present in the sodium is being attracted to the chlorine. To become 8 electrons in its outermost orbit, as sodium loses electrons and the chlorine gains electrons and form as a positive and the negative ion, and it forms a compound. Like the positive and negative gets attracted due to the electrostatic force, and they form a compound which is NaCl. Now Na can be written as Na and Cl 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and I am replacing it a dot over here which represents for sodium. Now you can see, you can easily understand here the dots or the intos which I kept over here, which belongs to the chlorine, and the dot which I kept over here, which belongs to the sodium over here, So one electron is being transferred to chlorine. Now this is the dot structure for the NaCl. And the same time, when we write it for the MgCl, let's take another example, the ionic bond formation between MgCl2. Like first we write the metal which is called as Mg, which has the atomic number as 12. So when we write the electronic configuration as 1s2, 2s2, 2p6 and 3s2. So this is the electronic configuration for magnesium: 1s2, 2s2, 2p6, 3s2. As we have 2 electrons in its first shell and 8 electrons in its second shell and 2 electrons in its third shell. So we have to remove these 2 electrons. So when we remove the 2 electrons, we have magnesium, which is 2, 8, 2, and here 2 electrons are being removed out. Mg plus 2, 2, 8 plus 2 electrons are being removed out over here. At the same as for chlorine also, here Cl, when we write for Cl, 1s2, 2s2, 2p6, 3s2, 3p5. As same as we have 2, here we have 8, here we have 7. The same what we have done over here. So chlorine plus 1 electron is being added, gives us to Cl minus 1. 2, 8, 8 and 2, 8, 7. Now when we combine these two equations, so like in mathematics, like Mg gives rise to Mg plus 2 plus 2 electrons, and here as if you see, we have 1 electron over here, but we have 2 electrons. Now what we have to do is, we have to balance the electrons. We multiply this equation with 2. Then we get 2Cl plus 2 electrons gives rise to 2Cl minus. I think you got it what I am saying is. See, to balance the electrons which are present over here. So here we have 2 electrons and here we have 1 electron. Now to balance this, here as we have 2 electrons, here we have to multiply this equation with 2. So here we have 2Cl, 2 electrons, 2Cl minus. Now we can cancel these 2 electrons over here. Now when you write the whole equation, Mg plus 2Cl gives rise to Mg plus 2 plus 2Cl minus 1, which combines to form as MgCl2. As 2 chlorines are there, so we get as MgCl2. Now when we draw the dot structure for here is, we write the magnesium, which has 2 electrons in its outermost orbit, so we write it as 1 and 2 electrons, so 2 electrons are written, plus, so 2 chlorines, so we write it as the 2 chlorines, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now what happened here is, 1 electron which is present in the magnesium is being transferred to one of the chlorine, and another electron which is present in magnesium is transferred to another chlorine. So what we get here is Mg for these two, and we get chlorine 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, And as the same for another one, chlorine, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7. See, here we have a bond between these two. So as two electrons have been transferred, so we get Mg+2 and Cl minus, and they both combine together to form ionic bond, and which we get here is the ionic compound. And the same as for another example, let us take another example like calcium oxide. So you can pause the video and you can do it by yourself once, and after doing it you can again play the video and check whether we have written correct or not. So it's just simple, just same as what you have done for NaCl and what we have done for MgCl2. The same thing also we have to do it for CaO. So the same thing we have to do it for CaO. So it's very easy, as here we have multiplied with 2 to get the balance, but here no need to get multiplying it, so easily you can do it. So once try it and check it, and I'm giving you this as a work. You can do it at your home, and any doubts you can ask again, and we will discuss about this calcium oxide. So this will be given as a work for you to do it, as how we have done for NaCl, how we have done for MgCl2. The same also you have to do it for calcium oxide. It's a work for you. Clear? Now this is about the ionic bond formation with the compounds. Not only with this, with various compounds also we can do, as we have discussed in the example that about the AlCl3, Na2O, and many examples are there. With many of these you can find out the ionic bond formation with the help of this method, how we have done just before. Clear? Next. So next we are going for the next one, which is the coordination number. So what is meant by coordination number is that the arrangement of ions in the ionic compound that we are going to discuss with the help of the coordination number. Like example, if we take for NaCl, so NaCl we have a cubic structure for NaCl. So this is the cubic structure. So when we take the cubic structure for NaCl, all the Na plus and the Cl minus ions are being arranged in this. So that how many Na plus and how many Cl minus are arranged, which that can be discussed with the help called the coordination number. So what is the coordination number is the number of ions of opposite charge that surround a given ion of given charge. Like Na is being surrounded with a Cl minus. At the same time, Cl minus is being surrounded by Na plus. Like Na plus is being surrounded with 6 Cl minus ions around it, left, right, up, down, at all the sides which has been covered out. And the Cl minus is being covered with 6 Na plus ions, which is the coordination number of NaCl. So this is about the coordination number. How many opposite charges ions are being surrounded with a given charge, which is called the coordination number. So here we have the structure of sodium chloride. Here we have sodium ions and the chloride ions, and the sodium chloride crystal, which is the face-centered cubic closure pack structure, which we call it, and the chloride ions are being arranged at the edges and also the face center of the cube, and the sodiums are arranged in the middle of the M. And the chloride ions are a little bit bigger when compared to the sodium ions, so due to its structure. Now when we extend the NaCl structure, and here we have the chloride ion which is been arranged with 6 Na plus, and the Na plus is been arranged with the 6 Cl minus, and this is what we call the coordination number as 6 over here. We have the ionic bond formation between some of the properties, we call them as the properties. So ionic bond is formed between two elements which have the electronegativity difference which is equal to or greater than 1.9. Like if we take two elements like NaCl, Na and Cl, or Mg and O, or any other two elements, their electronegativity should be, the electronegativity difference should be equal to or greater than 1.9. That is, if we find out the electronegativity of Na and electronegativity of sodium, and when you subtract these two, it should be greater than or equals to 1.9. As if it is greater than or equals to 1.9, then the bond formed is said to be called as the ionic bond. So this is one of the competitive bits which may ask for you. And coming to the ionic bond formation, we have cation and anion. So we have some of the properties over here as we have discussed in the periodic property, that is atomic size, ionization potential or ionization energy, electron affinity, electronegativity, electropositivity, metallic nature and non-metallic nature. Now coming to the cations, how these properties should be, whether it should be high or whether it should be low, let us see. Now coming to the atomic size, the cations, all the cations should have the high atomic size. They should have the high atomic size. And when coming to the ionization potential, they should have low ionization potential, low electron affinity and low electronegativity, as cations is nothing but the positive charges, so the negativity value should be low. And electropositivity, so positivity, that means it should be having high. And the metallic nature, as we have said, all the cations which are losing the electrons, they are all having the positive nature, so which is also called as high. And the non-metallic nature for the cations, it should be low. Now coming to the anions, it's just quite opposite to that of cations. So cations is nothing but the loss of electrons, and anion is nothing but the gain of electrons. So gain of electrons, which is said to be called as minus. So atomic size should be low, and ionization potential should be high, electron affinity should be high, electronegativity should be high, and electropositive, as it is a negative nature, so the positive nature should be low. Metallic nature, so it belongs to the non-metal, so the metallic nature should be low, and as it is a non-metal, so non-metallic nature should be high over here. So this is about the properties which the cations and anions should be followed over here. And coming to the overall ionic compound properties, so mainly we have 4 over here, which is the first property, which is solid in nature at room temperature. So at room temperature, that is at 37 degrees centigrade, all the ionic compounds are solid in nature. So as we know that matter consists of solid, liquid, gases, so all the ionic compounds should be in solid at room temperature, that is 37 degrees centigrade, and they have high melting and boiling point. So this is very important, that all the ionic compounds, they have high melting and high boiling point. And one more thing we can discuss, that is the bond between the NAs and Cl. That is, like example, if we take an ionic compound, the bond between NaCl or the ionic compounds are very strong over here. That is why they are very strong, because as the attraction between the two elements over here, the attraction between the two elements are very strong together, and they are being holded very tight. That is the reason they are having the high melting and high boiling point. So when we convert solid to liquids or liquid to gases, the molecular attraction gets decreased, that is the intermolecular attraction decreases over here. That is, one molecule to another molecule, the attraction decreases when it converts to solid to liquid. So here it has high melting and boiling point, because to break the bond we need to give more amount of energy over here. So why? Because the ionic compounds are strongly attached to each other and we cannot break them, and that is why they are having the high melting and boiling point. And next, coming to the third property, which is soluble in polar solvents. Polar solvents, which we call it as water. So as we know, NaCl, it is soluble in water. So all the ionic compounds are soluble in water, which is called as a polar solvent, and they are insoluble in non-polar, which we call as oils or kerosene. So all these are said to be called as non-polar solvents, which are insoluble. So salt cannot be soluble in oil or kerosene. Clear? Next, and coming to the last property, which is highly reactive in polar solvents. So highly reactive in polar solvents like water. So when we mix them in water, so they are soluble and also they are also highly reactive over here. So this is about the properties of the ionic compounds. So as what we have discussed today in this episode is, we have discussed about the ionic bond explained by Cosell, and we have seen about the functions that two dissimilar elements should be formed, and high reactive metals and highly non-reactive metals, and it is formed only between the cations and anions. And we have seen about the examples of the ionic compound, and we have seen about the formation of NaCl and MgCl2, how it is been formed with NaCl and MgCl2, that we have seen over here. And calcium oxide is given as a work for you to do it, and I know everyone can do it. It's easy method to find out the formation of CaO. It's very easy. And next coming, we have discussed about the arrangement of ions in the ionic compound, that the coordination number. So all one opposite charge is combined, is surrounded with another opposite given charge, like Na plus is being surrounded with a 6 Cl minus. At the same time, Cl minus is surrounded with the 6 Na plus ions. And next we have seen about the properties of cations and anions, which one should be high, which one should be low, and we have seen about the properties of the ionic compounds. So any doubts regarding the ionic compounds and the formation of ionic compounds, please give a comment over here. Please give your valuable comment, and subscribe the channel, click the bell button, click the like button, and any regarding any doubts, please give a comment. And thank you for your time for watching this video. Thank you one and all.